All right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing well, and welcome to another episode of RareFUD Radio. Today's episode, we're going to be covering a few topics. We're going to be covering the Lily Mint coming up. We're going to be covering Elixir, which is minting today. We're going to be talking about the Catalina Whale Mixer, which is down in Miami, that first weekend, that Art Basel weekend. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, what's happening in the market as usual, and going over everything. Join me today is my solo co-host. Joe is in some traffic, it appears, so may not have him on the show. He may come halfway through. Who knows? It's Joe. He's a wild card, right? All right, let's go ahead and bring on Dorian. Dorian, how you doing today, my man?
Yo, what's up, man? Every day is a holiday, dog, and happy to be here for another great episode and just dying off of you calling Joe a wild card.
Joe's a wild card, man.
Yeah, he
I
keeps the
expect
show
nothing more.
interesting, dog.
I know. You got to have that wild card. It always reminds me of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where um, you got Charlie in the back, and they're wondering what happened to the brake line, and Charlie just pops up and he goes, "Wild card, bitches!" And he just like drops out the back, and so yeah, that's Joe. Joe's our wild
Yep.
card, but nonetheless, let's talk a little bit about the market. We got a lot of stuff happening. We've kind of cooled down as far as sold volume goes. We're
Yep.
about 144,000 across all marketplaces that are on TIEXO. But that's still healthy. That's really healthy, actually. In my opinion, I think this is like a normal range. We saw massive volume once we saw capitulation. I mean, people were selling off left and right, people were buying up left and right. And so this is about what I expect to be the norm, especially at Sol with 13 bucks. This feels like where we're going to stabilize. So I'm happy here. Again, I think 100K Sol is about our standard here, but market still seems to be moving. There's still some place to be had, but man, it was just like shooting fish in a barrel. About 4 or 5 days ago, where everything was just like 50% off. It was crazy. And now we've kind of seen some dust start to settle in the market. We started seeing some floor prices start to normalize and really rock it up. We could talk about a few of those, but kind of want to get your sentiment test on the market. Door, how you feeling about the market right now?
I mean, the market's as good as it can be. It's great to see that. So, one good and bad thing about Sol is that people view one Sol as one Sol. So, when you look at USD terms, you're down bad. But if you're just trading for just to acquire more Sol, I mean, volume is always a great thing. So that's why it's kind of like a positive and negative thing. So as long as volume is there, I think it's a good opportunity to make some trades, man. And as long as, like you mentioned, we're at that 100K range, I think we'll be solid. Utes and Tubes and D-Gods, a couple days ago on Tuesday, was just pulling insane volume. So it's good to see that trickle out to other projects as we typically see. It's like one project usually captures the majority of the volume, and then once people take profits from that, it trickles to other areas of the ecosystem. I'm curious to see how Elixir will do. I know people have been talking about this for a while, but I'm really looking out for Clannosaurs. That's what I'm really interested in, to see if this volume is going to be able to hold and people are going to rotate there.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. There's 3 mints coming up on the horizon. It looks like 2 of them are back to back. So we have Elixir today. Then we have Lotus Gang's Lily is tomorrow. So there's a lot to go into. Kind of leads us into a nice segue that we do have Elixir minting today. It looks like there's about 2,500 left for us to mint, and they're at a 10 Sol mint price, which is a lot. I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot, but I know what they built already. The Elixir app is one of the cleanest AMMs I've seen, and they have a ton of different infrastructure plays that I think is worth looking at. Now, I personally am not going to mint. I know I'm pretty sure you don't have whitelist either. Joe does, so I would love for Joe to be here, but yeah, I don't have whitelist. I'm just going to watch secondary.
Same, dog. Same.
My thesis is kind of like, look, if elixirs are minting these ovals, is what they're called, right? They're like owl, humanoid looking art. The art actually looks pretty good. If you guys haven't seen the thumbnail, it looks clean to me. I like it. I think the infrastructure behind it is really what I'm interested in, and driving value back to the community guidelines on, they call it the parliament. It's kind of how they dictate the direction of the project. So I think there's a lot of interesting plays here, and I'm curious about it, right? It's not one that I would mint right off the bat. They obviously do have track record of building something over the past couple months, but I'm just waiting on the sidelines. I'm going to see what happens. Maybe I can snipe some rares that right after that post mint hysteria is usually when you can find some great deals and just find those traits that maybe not even be too rare, but it does look good. And we've seen that happen with Utes and stuff. But I think we're in the same boat, Door, that 10 souls a lot. And
dog.
I don't have a trouble minting for 10 soul. I actually like seeing this, especially with proven teams that we're seeing with some of these upcoming ones. I mean, between Lotus Gang and Bunjil being behind Lily tomorrow, you have Clanosaurs, which has some of the best animators that we've ever seen in the space, and not just in Solana, but ETH too. So we got a lot of talented teams with a lot of big mints coming up on the horizon, and I would rather it be that way than us try to like give a soul or two to these scam projects. And so it's going to be good to see. I'll just see how it mints out. But other than that, I'm kind of waiting from the sidelines.
Yeah, same here, man. And it just sucks. It's like these teams are in such a weird position. It's like I understand that they need to raise USD value for their projects. However, you're in an ecosystem that pays attention to soul more. So you're in a weird position where you're like, the market is not good. Even if we have this little brief blip of optimism, the overall macro conditions are finally starting to catch up to Solana, and it ain't looking hot, dude. So I'm personally not minting anything because I think that I'll be able to pick it up off of secondary for cheaper. Like, in 10 souls, a tall order. Because, like, for me, it's like, it's not that much. And, like, I had looked at my wallet and I had 17 soul in one of them. It was like $250, dog. I'm like, I cannot believe this. This is insane. But at the same time, it's like, that's still 17 soul that can hit $100 one day. And I don't really want to spend that much on a JPEG that's going to probably go below mint. So I no offense against those teams. They're solid. I understand their products are good, but I just don't foresee them minting out. And if they do mint out, I don't foresee them pumping past their floor price. So it's just not in my interest, and I don't feel comfortable enough minting anything right now, and probably just wait a couple weeks or even months where these things will probably be far below mint and just pick them up then.
Yeah, I think gone are the days that we're seeing these mints just absolutely skyrocket from where you mint them. And I think the risk of, like, let's say Elixir does go to 20 soul. I'm fine with it. I'm happy for the people who minted, but it's a 2x versus something that could dip, to 5 soul, to 3 soul, whatever that looks like. And I just don't know. Like I said, I'm fine with the mint price being what it is. I actually applaud them for doing so, especially in this market. But I just don't trust the community, the soul community who's left in the market with spending so much on a JPEG right now that doesn't have a proven track record. Albeit, like I said, it's Elixir. They do have a proven track record. They are building some really cool stuff. They built stuff before mint, and I think going forward, that would be like a really cool trend to see. Is people building before they mint and establishing their name within Web3. I think that's a good way to go about it.
I agree, man, with you. And it's like, if we were not on Solana, I'd be like, man, Elixir's going to be set up for success. But it's like, we have a whole bunch of profit maxis. And this is not to be pessimistic, it's more pragmatic than anything. People on Solana are to flip for profit. And if that profit isn't there, they'll floor it immediately before anything even mints out. So I just don't trust, as you said, Bryce, I don't trust the community, dog. So I'm not going to set myself up for failure when we see this thing happen time and time again. What happened, like even during the pop heads mint, we saw people immediately list on secondary below floor. We saw this with IOTA from John Lay, 5 soul mint price. And that was struggling from a well-known creator. So you're telling me John Lay is going to be struggling. Of course, he got flooded a little bit before mint, and then people begin to list below floor for 5 soul. But yeah, I just can't see it, man. I have no faith.
I mean, that's a really good point, Dor, because I don't know if I trust the community.
No,
I do trust these builders, right? And they're doing some really good volume on Elixir. Looking at 7-day, they measure everything in 7 days. They don't allow you to change it on their app. But just looking at the 7-day, I mean, their top 5 collections, they're doing about 16K in the past 7 days, which is pretty good. You know, it's looking like it's probably about 5K a day if you add all of this up, which is fine. Maybe not even 5K these days, but I just want to see what kind of value is driven back to it. I need to look into it more before I give a final verdict on it. And in order to do so, I'm happy to let other people mint before I go into it.
Yeah, dog.
Right now, I think the only thing, it kind of leads into our next point on Lily, but I'm really only interested in minting art projects right now. And there's a reason for it. One, art people, art focused communities, especially with a solid community like Lotus Gang. These people are some of the most diamond handed people in the space. You know, kind of like Cyber Samurais, where they just had their death knell, where they were at one soul. Nobody cared about Lotus Gang. And then all of a sudden they start rocketing up once Bungill starts talking about Lily. So I'm fine minting Lily more so than Elixir, solely because they have more of a strong community behind them that I think will hold for a longer period of time. And I think that's one of the things I trust most about it.
No, agreed.
So I think the art projects have more of like I have a longer time horizon sort of thing on this. That's why I went in so hard on pop heads. But and it's probably one of the things that I'll probably do with Claynosaurs. I mean, some of their one-on-one auctions were massive, right? They had like 200 soul plus auctions between their artist collaborations, and it was nice to see. I still don't know if I'm going to go in on Claynosaurs. I imagine it'll go into public. It's just a little bit high of a cost for me.
I just think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even with Claynosaurs, man, it's just like that 8 to 10 soul, man. It's like, even for me, I'm like, even though it's like $200 or a little less, I'm still like, man, that's high, because like, why risk it when I can just pick up something off a secondary, one that I want, in a couple weeks, and it'll be substantially below 8 to 10. I mean, could be. I'm just like betting on like historical data about what we've seen in the past with these type of mints. So it's just like it's hard to convince me to mint, even if I did have a whitelist.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I would rather play secondary these days. I mean, we'll talk about some of the secondary plays that have absolutely went nuclear over the past few days. Even after this nice run up we saw pretty much on the macro, where a lot of these floor prices went down 50% and then they rebounded almost immediately. So, yeah, we'll talk about some of these events and then we'll get into secondary plays because I think those are more interesting to me. But we do have Lily tomorrow, and Lily's interesting for me. Now, there's 4K Lotus Gang. They will all get whitelist, right? There will also be some allocation for Lily list. I didn't see how much the final allocation was, but they did a bunch of cool things in order to give out Lily list. One, there was nominations for like best thread writers and stuff, and we know our boy Alpha got one of those spots, and I'm pumped about that. We also saw like best artist, and you know, it's like a bunch of awards. They partnered with a bunch of notable projects and notable names in the space. I know Cevon, Monolith, Thugbirds was giving out these codes that you can redeem in the Discord, and so I thought that was fun. And then they also had the trading game. They did a lot of cool things in order to give out Lily list. And then the remaining is left for public. Now, we did get information for the holders yesterday. There was a town hall in Discord where what we did think was going to be a free mint for Lotus Gang is going to turn out to be a one soul mint, which I'm fine with. He said it's just, I mean, it's what, $13 right now? Yeah, I'm fine with it. But I think
even if it was 33, it's like, it's just one soul. Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm totally fine with it. He just said market conditions kind of warrant it. We do have to play into the economics of the whole thing. We do have a huge staff now that is going to be working on this, and I think Lily is going to be a sleeper for a lot of people, just because Bungill likes to keep things much closer to the heart than most of these creators and founders, right? So I think Lily is going to do really well. If I were to give any advice to other people, not financial advice, do your own research, you know, disclaimer, but I would probably play secondary on this. The reason being is because public is a 5 soul mint and it's dynamic. So the nice thing about dynamics right now is that we can test the market literally live action. We can see how much mint demand there is when it does go to public, and there's going to be a good amount going to public. I'm fine holding the Lotus Gang. I actually swept like 6 of them just because I wanted to see, you know, what happens. I pretty much bought a local top. You know, it was like 14 to 15 is what I swept at. They're now sitting at like 12.5. So whatever, a little bit of a loss there, but I just have
only
this
like a
weird,
$3 loss, dog. We're so
I
down
know.
bad on Sol, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it was a good week for me. So I was like, I'm happy to support Bungill, who has a proven track record and has been showing up literally consistently for over a year now. That I'm fine doing it. It's kind of like Popheads, where those are artists that have been in the space and they continue to create even in the bear market. I'm fine doing it. I would probably be the same way if I had Elixir whitelist, just because they did build something beforehand. Claynosaurs is really the only thing that I wouldn't mint right now, just because I don't even know if they're doxed right now, right?
Yeah.
I know it's one of the things that like has been worrying for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of like Pixelmon 2.0 comparisons, which I think is a bit harsh, but nonetheless, like I do want to see doxed. You don't have a body of work. I know they put out that proof of work reel where it's like this is all the stuff we worked on it, and that's really cool.
That's fine, but what's your name, dog?
And that usually is a collaboration of animators. So like you could have been just the janitor who was in the room with them, and you might be taking credit for that. So for me, Claynosaurs is definitely like highest risk for me. Elixir's already built something. If I got whitelist, I would consider it, but I'm not going to like ape into it. No. Lotus Gang is just more of like a sentimental play. Plus, I think Bungill will actually do something with Lotus Gang and Lily to where both will have value. And I think a lot of people are going to underrate what they're doing with it. It just looks clean to me. I'm so excited to mint tomorrow. We'll see what public looks like. If it gets down, like if for some reason dynamic pricing goes down to like 3 SOL, which they usually have a lower end limit on it. So if it does go down, and let's say like the max it goes down is probably going to be like 3 SOL max. I might consider minting more. But I just think right now there's so many other good plays on secondary. Many other good plays on secondary. So I always look for post mint hysteria where people are flooring like really rare traits or what you think is going to be rare traits. And just see what happens with it. How are you going to play Lily tomorrow, Dorian? Are you going to be jumping in at all? Are you going to be buying a couple, or what are you going to do there?
Dude, I support the hell out of Bungill, but I don't have a Lotus Gang or a whitelist to Lily. But I think once again, market, like we'll see a pump from mint price, and it might even increase a little bit. But I think it'll average out around the floor price, if not a little bit below. And I'm just going to pick some up off secondary, man. Same thing with Lotus Gang. I think we'll see a pullback in Lotus Gang after mints, because that was the whole reason we saw the price increase for them. So, but I am looking for entries, and it's just once again going back to the point. It's like not really trying to mint right now. Just paying attention to what's going on secondary, identifying these undervalued projects that I know will pop off in a couple months, and looking to accumulate them. And Lotus Gang and Lily fits right in that category. So just a little bit of time. I'm excited to see what happens with the mint tomorrow, but just sitting on the sidelines for this one as well.
Yeah. I think that's probably the play. Like I just swept Lotus Gang because it was more of a fun play. Dude, that community is wild too. I've never seen a more active Discord. Like since the early days of Rems, and even Rems is still doing pretty well right now, but that Lotus Gang Discord is ridiculous right now. And so it's gonna be really curious to see how it all plays out. They definitely have their culture over there is like wee woo central, but I love it. Like, they're all super smart, giga smart, but they're just like, absolute shit posters in there. And I'm about it, dude. I love it. It'll be curious to see what happens. I think the big thing for me with Lily is he's teased enough that we get to see some, like, you're like, okay, I get the art style and what he's trying to go for, but he has not released like any big sneak peeks to me. He's just released color palettes, like shadowed out outlines. And I think that's enough hype for me to be like, there's going to be some definite movement. There's going to be volatility within Lily that I'm going to be playing heavily tomorrow. So that's going to be my day tomorrow. Once it mints out, I am like glued to my computer.
Oh yeah, dude.
There for like the next 3 hours or so, just trading this stuff.
Dude, you've been on fire trading recently, so like I know you're in your flow state right now, so I can't wait to hear how that goes for you.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of luck. I mean, like I minted a Nouns Frank headband, which had I waited a little bit longer, honestly, I probably could have sold that thing for like 500 souls. So like in the grand scheme of things, it was just more or less like I'm gonna lock myself into profit. I rotated that into tubes, and then the tubes took off too because it was just like game theory, saw a supply squeeze. I knew 1,000 D gods hadn't claimed their tube yet, so you're looking at 2,500 left, and then 500's in treasury from the paper hand bitch tax that they implemented early on in the DGods project that will be auctioned off. So it's 2,000 tubes, and there's still like 10 101s left. I think it's 9 now. Somebody mentioned 1, but it was really fun to play. I did not expect it to go up to 180. So I sold out at 177. I was like, I'm done. So yeah, I bought in at like 95 and 99. I did sell one way too early just because I was like, I don't need too much exposure to this with all the profits I just made off Utes, and I'm just gonna play it. So
yeah. No, I feel you, dog. Even with me on like tubes, I cooked on tubes or whatever when it first minted. When it first dropped, I managed to sell one tube at 169.420. So I sold the top of that local run up when it first happened, and then I right before or when Utes was minting, I sold my second tube around 97. So it's great to take profits on tubes. I'm not really looking for it. Believe it or not, I'm not looking for an entry back into Utes right now because I would rather just pick up a DGod.
Yeah, that's fair. I think there's more speculation around Utes, so I would play that more. DGods is more of a safer bet, but I'm not a
you know me, dog.
We're in guy. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I am very excited for Lily. I think Lily's going to do well. We still don't know when Clanosaurus is going to mint. We do have some delays that have happened. Nomads announced yesterday or the day before that they're delaying over there. UGS, which we already announced on last episode, is delaying till December 1st. I think these are smart plays because, they just saw that there was a lot happening within a short span, and had UGS minted on, November 14th, like they were planning, it would have had to compete with Popheads, which would have been tough. I mean, it took Popheads 2 days to mint out. So, I think it's a smart move for them. We'll see how they start panning out, where they kind of decide, hey, I'm going to just delay until it's less competition, which again, I think is smart in this market. So we'll see what happens with it. We'll talk about another mint though that sounds like it's going to happen sooner than I expected. Tios. So Tio pilots is starting to, dude, Gem 1s took off. Oils now, I think it doubled overnight, dude. Oil doubled overnight, and I think that just signals that pilots is coming out sooner than we expected.
Yep.
It's about 140 for a Gen 1 now, which I am so upset with myself. I looked at 107 as an entry, and I said, well, maybe it goes down lower. This is a pretty big price point. And they went up about 40 souls. So happens, I miss out, but I'm more content sitting on the sideline on liquid right now. Do we see scrap being a play?
I don't know, dog. Not with it was a play in the past because Tom was pretty adamant about scrap pilots minting and scrap. Until that confirmation happens again, I wouldn't touch scrap.
That's fair. I'm just trying to look at the scrap chart real quick. And if I'm looking over on hellomoon.io, that is hellomoon.io. Good friend of the show, Walker, is a legend. Use it to swap all of your tokens, SPLs, all the good stuff. Not a paid promo, just love Walker. It's at 22 cents right now, which feels pretty good to me. If I'm looking back at the daily, dude, it dropped heavily. So it went, it went all the way down to 15 cents at one point. So it's had a nice little 50% pump at one point, dude. It ran all the way up to 40 cents. What? We'll see what happens with it. I'm very curious because if pilots does mint at the end of the month, which is what I've been hearing around some of my circles, then I wonder if UGS is going to push their mint back further because that's going to be a hype mint. UGS trying to compete with pilots, it's probably not. We've been talking for months, man. It's we figured pilots would happen after the whole Utes and DGod things kind of calmed down, and that drug out longer than expected. So Tom did some rework with the pilots art. So it wouldn't be surprising if we see those in the near future, man. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I'm just curious to see how it all plays out. I'm curious to see how Sol plays out because Sol just looks just wild to me. I think I saw a tweet about it, and I'm gonna go ahead and steal it. I cannot remember who tweeted it out, but it feels like we're at the state of the market where you could leave for 6 months and Sol's probably still gonna be where it is today. It does feel like we're gonna go into the boredom meta again, where, dude, I just want volatility again. Like, that was so much fun last week where everybody was capitulating. I got to buy serious fear and just make profit off of it. And I think too many people are expecting the downside and they'll be happy to take the upside as well. Then I'm like, well, if everybody's happy going either way, then we're probably going to go sideways. That's usually what happens here. So,
and that's the boring phase. Like, what was it last time I think when we first started RareFUD, where it's just like nothing was going on. We had that crash from 100 to 33 and we were chilling at like 33 for months.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally about 4 or 5 months that we were just kind of crabbing between, that 30 to 45 range. I mean, we touched 45 a couple times. We touched the mid 20s and then we nuked down to 13 or 12 and a half. And now I think we're going to go through the same meta where you could probably be fine. This is why I'm not rushing into DCA at these levels, because I think we'll have more time to do so. And I would rather have the liquid on hand to take advantage of any other coins that are moving. And, I've been looking at Matic a lot. I've been looking at Hedera. HBAR has been moving a little bit. There's been some other coins out there that are, have some more volatility in them. So I think I'm just going to play it out. We'll see. I think everybody's just waiting on Edge to see a move and what happens with the rest of the contagion with FTX and what settles. I don't know what it looks like, but I think a lot of people are expecting some news to come out. And I know people are like trying to hinge on Binance stopped USDC and USDT deposits and withdrawals on Binance. OK Exchange delisted USDC and USDT. Those are both on the Sol chain, not for the ETH chain or anything like that. But it's so curious to see, because it was such a random timing. And I think everybody is just so skeptical now when you see wallet maintenance or anything like that happening. They're like, oh God, here's another nuke for Sol. Like, we're going down to $8. And I don't know. I don't know. I think it's precaution, man.
Yeah, and for me, this is why I stay out of the TA realm and trying to like big brain this stuff, because it's too much unknowns, man. It's like you can sit here, try to think about all these unknowns and all this other connections and this and that. But for me, it's like, if you're only investing as much as you can afford to lose and you have a solid strategy and believe that this price is going to break all-time highs in the future, just DCA and chill, dog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I haven't really, mess with perps or anything like that right now. But if we start seeing volatility start happening in the market again, where we range up to mid 40s again, then heck yeah, I'm getting back into perps. And I will start trading Sol. But yeah, I know that'd be nice. That's a 3x from here. That's ridiculous. We're down bad right now.
Oh man, to say the least.
Things need to happen. I would love to see it happen. We'll see if it does happen. Who knows? But in the meantime, let's talk about whales. We do have an exciting event coming up where we'll be getting with the Rare or No Fluff team to make Rare Fluff. Dorian and I will be rooming with Salami Mommy, Lucifer, and Benny Threads over there, and we'll get some content going. We're not sure what it's going to look like. Easy's going to meet up with us at some point. We're going to meet up with the Sams at some point. All the whales like Kenny Loaded and Slatty and all those good people over there. I'm excited because there's going to be a ton of people over there. Art Basil's going to be absolutely awesome to go over to. So just to give you guys a heads up, we will be over there. I do think this is also a thesis to possibly buy a whale. So I bought 3 this morning. They were more mid rares that were close to the floor, but not on the floor. The reason I bought them was, one, whales that don't look out of, like, they don't have any crazy traits or anything like that, or cohesive traits, tend to sit on the floor more so than those mid rares. Catalina is just one of those projects that has a lot of above floor purchases. So those rares, those mid rares, tend to get bought up faster than the floors do. I think that'll change when we get closer. People will just want a whale to get into the mixer. And I think we'll start seeing a little bit of FOMO there. That's kind of my thesis behind picking up some whales here. But this continues to be, and we said it before on the show, we said it like when we started the show, that I think a lot of money is going to rotate into whales. And I do think they're going to announce stuff over there. They've been building in silence compared to what they usually did. They were very loud on Twitter before. And I think after Bubble Goose, they had to kind of sit back and reevaluate things. They built the team out. They built out a few little, snippets and teasers and trailers. They've talked a little bit about their future plans, but not too much in depth. And I think that's enough of a good mix that we should see some price action over the next couple of months or so.
No, dude, I'm right there with you, man. I'm bullish. I'm still bullish on Bubble Goose. I have no idea what it's at. I still think that's going to do well in the long run. I'm still bullish on Catalina Wells because they're giving you some of the best utility out there, and which is probably the most underrated utility on Sol, is about forming top tier communities, man. I swear, it's like when we start to get more details about these events, like who's going to be at the events and like the type of perks well holders get for coming to these events, there's no better utility for an NFT than networking, man. And that's why the whole reason I brought a well is to go to these events and hang out with you guys. It's like there's no other project that can give me something more tangible and offer a better return than that. So I'm super excited to see what they have coming. I'm super excited for the artists. I've created head speculation about DJ Khaled showing up because out of any NFT project, it's a possibility. Like nobody's sitting here and be like, oh, the well teams couldn't get DJ Khaled to come there because they could. Like, come on, man. It's like we even know that Carl Jones has connection to Megan Thee Stallion. Like, come on, dog. It's people buy NFTs to be connected to influential people. That's why the floor of CryptoPunks is so high. That's why the floor of Bored Apes is so high. That's why Doodles is so high. That's why D-Gods is so high. And it's only a matter of time before Catalina Wells gets up theirs too.
Yeah, it's funny. Web3 is just interesting because we're just so stuck in our own little world sometimes that, like, for instance, Cristiano Ronaldo is coming out with an NFT over on Binance Chain, and it looks like it's aiming to raise about 100,000 or something like that. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but it's funny because people would much rather ape into Utes than they would on Cristiano Ronaldo's NFT. And so I think it is one of those things where it could be a gimmick. Like it's not like CR7 knows anything about NFTs. You know what I mean? He probably knows nothing about it. He probably seen some Bored Apes with some high profile celebrities, and that's about as much as he knows. But it's also one of those things that the whale team just has enough information and insight and degeneracy in Web3 and connections in Web2 that I think that's what the plays I look for. And it's just funny because NFT degens will literally be more hyped for Utes. Like, Frank is the A-list celebrity here in Web3 versus an A-list celebrity coming into Web3. And so it's just always curious, the dynamic to see, but who knows what it looks like.
Yeah, man. And this is my thing too. It's just like with Catalina and Bubble Goose, it's like I'm bullish on them in the long run because if we want to see mass adoption, you're going to have to break outside your little Web3 bubble of your little niche internet celebrities. That's just what needs to happen. I don't, as much as as awesome as we think Frank is and a great marketer, most people in Web2 don't even know about him or care to know about him. But when they hear about somebody who they've been following that they're familiar with or is a celebrity or a great musician, they're more inclined to be attracted to them. So I can't see why if Catalina is successful and what it wants to execute of building this Web3 entertainment brand, why the floor price won't eventually go up. It's just one of those long-term plays that is like people forget. It's like CryptoPunks minted 3 years ago. It took it 3 years to become one of the top projects. So I have a bit longer time horizon on Bubble Goose and Catalina than a lot of people do in this space, just because I think it has that type of longevity. And if anybody's going to be able to successfully build a Web3 entertainment brand, it's going to be them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I think we are going to get some news over at the Mixer, and it'll be nice to see it firsthand. So definitely going to check out and see what happens with it. I think that's about all we have on the docket for what we're talking about today. It's going to be, I am very curious to see what's going to happen at the Mixer because it will be the best Web3 event that we've seen. I know Breakpoint was awesome in terms of like education and stuff, but I think this is going to be more of a fun event, right? Yeah. Where we get to like definitely collect our heads together. I know a lot of people said that Catalina's NFT NYC party was the best at the event. So we'll see what happens with it. I'm curious to see what DJs show up because they said they have a lineup. It's not just one. We'll see if it's DJ Khaled or not. I'm curious to see who they bring out because they have a whole laundry list of talent behind them. So
I'm
Okay.
super pumped to hang out with you, dog. I'm like, I was telling my wife, I'm like, man, being in the house, we might be drunk for 4 days straight. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Dude, it could happen, man.
Dude.
I'd tell you what, I on events like these, I usually show out. So,
Yeah, same dog.
yeah,
I
I'll try
haven't
not
shown
to
out in
show
a
out.
while either. So
I know. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and
yeah.
I know Salami Mommy will get down too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about Lucifer and Benny. I don't know what their predilections are, but I always see Salami Mommy goes to weddings and is hungover the next day. So it's usually a good sign that he'll drink with us. But nonetheless, we do have some questions in the chat. I know Yabara was asking. Please talk about the Hollowed, Liminality, and Brains and Zombies. I will get to those because we are short on time and we do allocate an hour for this. So you might as well talk about them. And we'll start with the Hollowed first. I am staying away. I have stayed away. I didn't want anything to do with the Hollowed. Not because I don't trust the Liberty team. I would just much rather have Squirrels at a discounted price at 8.9 than the Hollowed. The Hollowed was literally just like a cash flowing tool that you could parse out in order to sell. Now, I know they have some cool utility. There was like a treasure hunt that you could find half the mint funds or something like that. But I think the fact that they revealed after Halloween, they minted on Halloween. I think that was like, you probably should have done, if you wanted to do a Halloween style thing, you probably should have done, halfway through the month and then revealed them, like a week before Halloween and given people like a week to find this treasure hunt or something like that. I think that would have been more of the executional stuff, but I also will give them the benefit of the doubt because things happen. They just revealed I don't even know how long ago it was. Was it on Sunday?
I don't remember.
But it was never really a play for me. I didn't like the art. I would much rather have Squirrels, hands down. It's not even close. I think Squirrels are going to be more the key to the ecosystem. So for me, it was always going to be, if I get Hollow tokens, I sell them on the hype and I'm out of it. I know Joe did. Joe definitely played that really well. I know he sold out a good bit of them. I don't know if he sold out of all of them, but he got them at a really good price. So, I would leave it at that for the Hollowed, unless you want to say something, Dor.
No, I don't. Joe was our resident expert on the Hollowed. I didn't really touch it. As you said, if anything, I just pick up a squirrel.
Yeah. And let's talk about Liminality because I actually think this is more of a play that I would be into, just because our boy Seven Figure Win is in the dojo chat, and he is clearly proven that he knows how to trade, and so he built a trading bot, and that's pretty much what the utility is. I think the art actually looks pretty cool. It's something we haven't really seen too much of. It does remind me kind of like Borderlands. Some of these character models look like something you find in Borderlands or something like that, which I think is fun. And there's only 93 listed out of a 4.1K supply. That's pretty good. So there's definitely some movement there. I just don't know if they have any volume right now. It's only 225 sold volume. The last sale was 3 hours ago, but they've had about 5 sales in the past 24 hours. That's just one thing that worries me about it. But Liminality is definitely something that I'm keeping my eye on. I do love Seven Figure Win. If I start seeing volume on there, that's when I would be more interested. And I don't mind if I, miss out on a couple soul entry or something like that. But I'm just waiting to see volume hit the market on that collection. What do you think, Dor?
Yeah, man. We had Seven Figure Win on our space to talk about the tool, and it seems very interesting, especially seeing as an auto trader. So, like I said, I personally don't trade, so the tool's not, even though it's passively, it's like the tool's still not attractive to me. But I mean, I wouldn't fade him at all. So it's like if you're interested in like an auto trading bot, I would consider picking one up.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, what's up, man?
Dog.
Nice for you to join us.
Hello, thank you. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, I got caught up in
man.
traffic today. It was wild, man. It was a wild, intersection both ways. The only ways to get out were both blocked, and there was a stop sign there with a guy that didn't really care much about our time, I guess. So I was stuck there for about 30 minutes. But
there you
I've
go.
been listening to you guys this whole time. You guys have been doing great, man. Sound great, entertaining.
Better
Joe,
with you here, dog.
Joe, I have a quick question for you. Going back to the Hollowed, what are you doing with the Hollowed right now? Have you sold out?
So I still have like 6 or 7, but I was lucky enough to sell an ultra rare for high 20s, a few rares for 10s and 11s, a few commons that had a mask or two for 5 or 6. So I was able to recoup and some nice profits. I'm sitting on an Innocence Bozo. That's a rare. That's like 30 soul floor, and then a few other rares. So I actually got lucky. I only minted 3 commons out of the lot I had. The rest were rares or ultra rares. So I got very lucky.
And that's my hope for Lily. I am hoping I mint rare lilies. Please give them to me, Lord. That would be great. That is the whole reason I bought into it. And if not, I get to support Bunjil, and I'm happy to do so. But
Win-win, dog.
You know what, Bison? You're right, though, right? Because like at this time in the market, most likely the reason you're minting is because you want that chance of a rare, right, or a high.
Feel something, bro. I just want to feel something in this market.
Exactly.
Dude, that's why Pop Heads was so nice, because it was such a low mint cost, and it's just like the art was great, and it's just like, oh man, I didn't get it. Okay, I'm gonna spin the wheel again.
Bro, I hit 20 times and didn't hit like anything. I think I got 2 animated ones, and the rest were like super common, not great, not gonna sell above floor pop heads. So I definitely, I'm hoping I burned out all my bad mint luck there, and Lily's a nice hit. But I think I might have used all of my mint luck with my nouns. Crank that down. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. And then finally, talk about brains and zombies. I stayed away from this entirely. I did not care for it. I know there was like speculation that HG was involved with it. I haven't even seen anything concrete that he is. And so for me, it was too much speculation. I like the game theory sort of play there, but it just didn't really do anything for me. Yeah. I didn't like the mechanics of it. I'll let you guys get into it. Dorian first, and then Joe.
Yeah, I was huge into it when I first heard about it, mainly because of the speculation and the HGE factor, and I did like the game theory about it. But I just think they were too slow to roll everything out. So by the time, like, there was like a week gap in between waves and the game launching, and you know this space, man, whenever it's like something's a week between each other, it's like people are already moved on. So that's essentially what happened. So I like bounced out the collection after I found out the gamification was going to take like another week to get started. I'm like, yo, this is too long. So it's like, I don't have time to keep up with this.
Yeah. Joe, have you done anything with brains and so I think you bought into it at one point, but I'm pretty sure you sold out of it so far.
Oh yeah, I had a very strict exit. I told Dorian too. Like I was like, yo, if they don't bring the infrastructure out in the next 2 days, like 48 hours, I'm out. Because this type of game theory hype cycle, you have to feed the masses completely every 24 to 48 hours is a hype cycle to me in this market. I know a lot of people say 4 days for natural marketing, but to me, I feel like 24 to 48 hours in our echo chamber is important. So yeah, I sold out of those for sure. Yeah, I'm just looking to sell. I actually have a few more plays that I'm luckily up on Sol with, but down on USD. So I'm going to make some good max harvesting plays here. And yeah, just chill. Lily, man, I'm hoping for the best as well with that. Hope for a nice rare as well. So Bison, that's not one of one to like your rarity that you're holding in Lotus. It's a whole
completely independent, which that's why I swept the floor, not try to get like a dark samurai. There is a dark samurai that's like 69 soul, but it's like the second rarest thing in Lotus Gang. And I was just trying to pick and choose, but yeah, it does not have any correlation with your Lotus Gang. And I do think Bunjil will have enough know-how in this space to keep these as separate entities that are intertwined, kind of like D-Gods and Utes. Like, I don't even think of Utes as a D-God second collection or anything. I just think of it as the second collection from that team, but not like, I think there's enough variation in how they give out Ute lists and stuff that it held its floor really well. And it's a bigger collection size than the first one, which I think same thing kind of applies with Lily. That's, it's just one of those things that I'm just trying to game it out. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't think it's going to go too much, between Lily and Lotus combined price. I don't think it's going to go too much lower than what I entered it at. And I'm fine taking the risk, because if I do hit a rare, it'll cover all the risk I just set myself up for. And we'll see what happens with it. But that's all I'm playing with right now. I'm not really minting anything else. I was hoping that Lily was going to be a free mint, but I totally understand a 1 soul mint. That's nothing right now. It's $13, dude. I spent 13.
That's cheaper than lunch, dog.
Yeah, that's like a Starbucks coffee. Like whatever. I don't even care anymore. But yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I'm very excited for Lily. I think that I've said it for a while that it's one of the ones I'm most excited for, and we'll see. We'll get a nice sentiment test with the ovals today, with Owl or Elixir. So if those mint out and they do well, especially at a 10 soul mint price, then I think we're in a pretty good position that we can support a 5 Sol dynamic mint price. We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, I'm going to leave the floor open for you guys. And then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. What are you looking at right now as far as secondary plays? What's catching your eye? Are you just staying stabled? Are you staying in Sol? What are you guys doing? We're going to go over to Dorian first and then Joe.
Yeah, right now I'm just primarily focusing on just stacking Sol, man. I just think the time investment for like trading right now is not really worth it, just because it's like super low unless you're like Joe and yourself, who are like these high volume traders and can get out in position. That just doesn't really match my style. And even on the secondary thing, it's like even if something 2x is in Sol value, it's just like, oh, it's not as exciting as it was when Sol was $30. So, but I'm just looking to stack Sol and to get into some of these top tier projects, once again, DGODs, SMB, really accumulate those. I think those will pay off in the longer term, or even like a 4x4 right now. And I think they've been holding around 40 Sol, but USD value has dropped by 50%. So I think those are a good entry point. But just getting into plays like that right now is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I think those are great plays. It's something I've been scoping out. And dude, 4x4 and supply chain Voxel Monkey has held up so damn well. Throughout all of this, that I was hoping out of all, they were like the first collection I went to because I was like, oh man, if I get it at 20 Sol right now, hot dog, let's go. And those things barely budged, dude. I was so upset. And it's one of the reasons that I've been saying these art focused projects at these mother liquors they just don't floor stuff. Like they don't do it. They have stronger hands than most. I know we're seeing a little bit of a downtrend in pop heads. I don't even see it on the top collections page right now, which is kind of upsetting because once it goes off the top collections,
pretty much done.
It's hard to get back on there without a catalyst. We'll see what happens with it. I think maybe the swappable traits, with the skin tone and stuff like that, will maybe bring some more people interest into it. But we'll see. It's below mint now, which is kind of sad. I did sell off like a third of my bag at 3.7 and above.
That's good.
So I at least locked in a little bit of profit, but yeah, I'm still, net loss if I were to sell everything right now. Joe, what's going on with you? I know you're a little bit more active than Dora over here as far as trades go. Are you sitting in Sol? Are you sitting in USDC? Are you playing anything in the NFT market right now, especially on secondary?
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, all my plays, all my buying is done at the moment. I'm selling out of all my positions that I'm up in Sol on, regardless of the USD value. If I'm up in Sol, I'm selling it. Other than my Tayo, my DGOD, my Utes, really everything else, I'm kind of just letting go if I'm profitable. And yeah, I kind of have a goal in mind for Solana that I want to reach by, the next couple of years. So at this point, I'm still a buyer. I know there's a lot of talk about capitulation and what's going to happen with our network and stuff. But at this point, I'm still not shook out of the tree. So yeah, not looking to buy anything really right now, not adding anything that looks too crazy. I will be minting, Lily and the OVO. I have a whitelist for Elixir. So I think I'm going to pull the trigger on the 10 Sol. I'll wait around 50% minted to kind of see to gauge it. But man, they shot up to about 70 Sol for the nectars. I don't see why these wouldn't be 15 to 20. But other than that, yeah, I'm just stacking Sol right now and slowly DCAing. I mean, like 20, like 25, $50 a day, nothing crazy.
Yeah, man.
Some days I'll do a little more, a little less, depending on how it's looking. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Just kind of taking risk off and kind of just trying to relax more. Maybe get back into play some video games. I don't know, just kind of chill for a little bit. It's been a wild ride past couple of months.
Yeah. I completely understand that. I mean, it kind of echoes the sentiment we talked about earlier, Joe, where I really do think that in terms of Sol price, it doesn't feel like it's going to do much of anything over the next couple of months or so, which is kind of sad. I mean, seeing Sol at $13, you're like, man, opportunity of a lifetime. I've been waiting for this forever. I bought in my first Sol at $13 and we're back here, baby. I'm glad I took a little bit of profit at 200. To cover some taxes and whatnot, but I should have, hindsight 2020, I should have always taken more. Nonetheless, it's still pretty happy with my position. I think I'm totally comfy knowing that it's probably going to be a year and a half before we start really making the moves up towards, stretching for those all-time highs again. I want everybody to listen to this to know it'll probably take a year and a half for us to see $100 Sol again, I really do think that's gonna be the case. So If that pains you, that's okay. That usually means you're on the right track. And $100 Sol right now is about over a 7x from here. So could be a really good trade. I don't think there's much more downside that we're going to see. If we do, it's probably going to be to $8 and then $4, like everybody says, but everybody's saying it. Don't think it's going to happen. So, as far as secondaries go, dude, I bought some more Sams because I'm a masochist. I don't know. Maybe I just hate myself and really shouldn't be buying JPEGs right now. I already talked about my whales buys, my Lotus Gang buys. I'm sitting on the rest of my liquid for right now. If I don't, someone please slap me. But I kind of just want to see if we do see any more downside to this. If we don't just grab, then I want to be able to take advantage of it. It's been really nice having like a ton of liquid Sol again from the sale that I can take advantage of, and I did take advantage of. So I think, it's just staying in Sol right now is probably going to be where I end up. I'm stabled up like 40%.
What I'm smacking myself for is not buying a SMB in the 140s, and then I'm smacking myself again at 160s last night. Now they're back to like 200, and I'm just like, why didn't I do that? Like, I'm not doing anything with this Sol anyway. I should have done it, but
putting in an SMB is solid.
I just don't want, at the end of the day, even if they don't do anything, I feel like it just has that crypto punk, like just you're holding it holds value, networking prowess. I don't know. I've been thinking about that as well, but dude, Voxel Monkey, man, is still on my mind. Like that 600, I would love to pay 400 for one. I wouldn't have a problem. That 500-600 is like, for me, I don't know. I just don't like I don't want to break that 500 mark. I feel like the 400 to 300 range would be a decent voxel purchase.
I know. I'm very sad because the voxel monkey that I was looking at was the Joker one, I believe, and it got taken off right after my sale, which I totally would have bought it. I was ready to spend 460 on it, and they delisted it. So, that's just the way it is. I'm totally fine for that. I will keep playing some of these other riskless plays, in my opinion, but right now is kind of we always talk about, we get these cycles where you just see these glaring prices and you're like, buy, I need to buy. It happened at the beginning of our show, like episode 1 through 10 was pretty much, we were hitting every nail on the head. And then it got to a point where some of these prices were inflated, not really doing anything with them. We're just sitting on our hands. We had that same sort of cycle over the past 3 shows or something like that. And now it's back at the range where a lot of these just don't look appetizing to me. I just don't see a whole lot of room to grow, especially in this market that, like I said, I'm fine sitting on liquid right now.
Same, dog.
And, I packed some long-term bags, and Lotus Gang is solely so I can mint some lilies and see what happens on there. But I think that about does it, guys. Any final remarks before we sign off?
No, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. I'm glad, Joe, you were able to join too, dog.
Yo, I appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, be safe out there, guys. Don't get too down on your dumps. I wish I could enter my first time ever into a high risk asset market right now. Like, I wish I was like, oh, hey, what's this market all about? So just take that with a grain of salt. Like, I know it's really bad, but dude, like, if you're not too over invested in this space and you're kind of just touching, trickling your, man, you are set
in a perfect time.
It's hard for a lot of us that's been here to see the highs. That's when people run, right? When the lows are there and they don't leave, because people have felt the euphoria and they don't think they'll ever see it again. So if you're just getting in this space, don't be afraid of all the negativity, because it's a lot of people that have lost a lot of money, but you're in a position of strength. So for anybody listening that's kind of just, dibbling their feet in the water, I think you're in a good position.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw an Adam 8 tweet literally 17 seconds ago that 3 voxel monkeys are going to be featured at the Art Basel exhibition put on by Exchange Art. So I guess Exchange Art is having
a little. That's the one we're going to, dog.
Yeah. Okay.
The one I sent you the RSVP for.
Yeah. Did I sign up for that? I got to make sure I did. But yeah, that's exciting. It's gonna be, dude.
Is Adam going to be there though?
I don't know. I'm gonna DM him and see if he is. But,
let's hit him up. It'd be great to meet him in person.
Right. If you guys are listening to this, whether it's on podcast, whether it's on YouTube or Twitter, hit us up if you are going to be in Miami. We'd love to meet up with some of you guys. We appreciate everybody supporting the show, especially in these times. You know, I know it's not a very interesting market, but this is the best time to learn and grow and just observe market trends. Make sure you are following us on all of our platforms. We have the new YouTube channel, RareFUD Radio. Make sure you're subscribed to that. We only have 16 subscribers, so I know a lot of you guys are not subscribed. Please do it. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. We do have a link tree that has all of our platforms and socials, which includes our podcasting platforms, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We do this show every 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. And yeah, that about does it. Please continue to support us. I know it's a crazy market, but we will support you. We appreciate all of you guys so much. I appreciate both of you guys. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and enjoy your weekend. We'll see you on the next episode.